If you're an American who hates Islam, I can prove to you that Sharia law would be better for America than our current democracy system. Number one, there would be no interest-based banking system. This would mean no student debt, no credit cards, no housing collapses, which is literally destroying our economy right now. Number two, there's actual punishments for crime. Our current judicial system puts criminals in jail and then puts them back out on the streets and doesn't actually solve the problem. Sharia law has real punishments, crime would plummet. Number three, zakat would solve poverty. We have a major poverty issue in America. And under Sharia law, the rich people like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk would be required to take care of the poor people. Number four, we would have no gambling and no prostitution. These are two things that are destroying the nucleus of the American family. Number five, women would finally have rights and be protected. In America, they are used as marketing objects to make corporations money and to screw over the women and to screw over the average man. Now don't get emotional, okay? I'm an American. I love my country, but I would love to see America use Sharia law. Let's take a second to look at prospering Islamic nations. Places like the UAE and Bahrain, they have the best economy, they are the safest, and they have the happiest population. If you disagree with me, you are just uneducated. This is not my opinion. These are stats, and you can't argue with stats.
Okay, interesting. Now, first off, because the video, okay, we'll go through and I'll go it bit by bit, right?
If you're an American who hates Islam, I can prove to you that Sharia law would be better for America than our current democracy system.
So he is writing it as Sharia versus democracy. I'm not sure whether all of those are from democracy or something else. For example, about banking system, right? I'm not sure whether that is something from democracy, right? Because that's more of economic system, right? But I know to compare, you have to either put a label to it, meaning what represent what is currently being implemented in the US. I'm not sure whether democracy is the word though, because I think some American use what word? Is it? It's not republic, right? What's the word? Because the it's not pure democracy. But anyway, I'm not well versed in terms of that discussion. But regardless, it's more of what is under the umbrella that is implemented in the US, right? And versus Sharia. But the way, because I think he used the phrases that commonly used by people. For example, Sharia law. It's not as necessary law, because Sharia, right? Law is one component of Sharia, right? So, for example, if we say pray 5 times a day, that is under the Sharia, but we do not call it law, because law normally have like the court system, etc. We call it law, right? There's enforcement, there's the punishment, there's the court of justice, etc. Normally that's quote unquote law. But we have the code of ethics, etc., which also under the Sharia. But of course, because when people see Sharia, they only know Sharia law because that is what being popularized by certain people, right? And regardless, let's go to the point.
System. Number one, there would be no interest-based banking system. This would mean no student debt, no credit cards, no housing collapses, which is literally destroying our economy right now.
So that is interesting in the sense that it is obvious that the interest-based system, economic system, is responsible. There's two sides of it, right? It is responsible for the rapid growth. You cannot argue with that, because such growth is not possible without the interest-based system, right? Because you can regenerate things without, it's based on debt, right? Hence you can accelerate because of debt. If you do not have a debt system, I'm not saying you cannot borrow money, but you cannot profit from borrowing money. Not borrowing, you cannot profit from lending money to people, right? That become an industry in itself, right? So the whole problem happen because of this system. If that's not in existence, we obviously would not have all the problems as mentioned. But at the same time, some people would argue, but the growth will not be as fast as we had But still, what is the most valuable thing? Human suffering or growth of nations despite the suffering, right? Meaning some people, because they are riding on this and they are benefiting from this and they do not care what happened to the people at the end of the spectrum, hence why bother? Let's grow and grow and grow, right? So interest-based system allow for that. You can be super rich and grow like anything while leaving behind people to suffer, right? Islamic system do not allow for that. Obviously you can prosper, no problem, but you cannot become so rich by design of making other people suffer, right? So obviously, okay, that's one thing, but that is in the principle. In terms of operation, when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam become the prophet and worldwide, I don't think the system of interest-based banking system as we have now is yet established at that time. So if had Islam become the dominant, and this interest-based banking system would never have the opportunity to even become a thing in this world. But now currently we already have this banking system, you know, in the structure, embedded. So how would Sharia deal with this? That is an interesting operation discussion that we have to have, because even right now the Sharia compliant banks, etc., because we are living in a world where the problem is already embedded, so embedded, and you cannot just simply, you know, burn all of this, right? So it's more tricky when, so that's the word, prevention is better than cure. Right now we are trying to cure because the problem is already there. Anyway.
Number 2, there's actual punishments for crime. Our current judicial system puts criminals in jail and then puts them back out on the streets and doesn't actually solve the problem. Sharia law has real punishments, crime would plummet.
So on this one, I'm wondering, right, what is the rationale behind the current judicial legal system, legal and crime and punishment system, etc., right? Especially in the US or in the Western world. What is the core concept behind the operation that is currently ongoing, right? Because the discussion with regard to the problem and the whole system is just continuation or reinforce the problem. I'm not sure what's the correct word, like meaning that those who end up in prison and they are not really rehabilitated, but they you know, the whole system, meaning it's well documented in terms of the problem. But is there such principles that cannot be touched or cannot be changed, that this problematic operation is still ongoing, and for the foreseeable future I think it will be still like that? So I'm wondering, what is it? I'm just wondering, because in terms of the Sharia, of course, it deal with, obviously the advantage of the Sharia is because it comes from God, and God knows what can actually solve problems. So yeah.
Number 3, zakat would solve poverty. We have a major poverty issue in America. And under Sharia law, the rich people like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk would be required to take care of the poor people.
So that is interesting in terms of, the concept is obvious, right? The zakat, where those who are wealthy, you know, there are percentages of the wealth that become compulsory for zakat. But that is for Muslim though. So I do wonder, operation wise, even if the Sharia is implemented in the US, for example, but Mark Zuckerberg or what's the name? How can I forgot the Tesla guy? The name doesn't come up. Anyway, they are not Muslim, so can you force them to pay zakat still, right? But I do understand in terms of the system embedded in the system is the solution. But the example given had, or if they become Muslim, then obviously zakat is become the obligatory thing for them. But in reality right now, I'm not sure.
Number 4, we would have no gambling and no prostitution. These are two things that are destroying the nucleus of the American family.
So on that one, I do wonder what is the fundamental, is it the right to, everyone have the right to enjoy or something? In terms of gambling, for example, right? Obviously the only one that benefit from gambling is the casino, those who are behind the gambling system. But what is it? Because for example, in the US, I think Christian churches, the mega churches, etc., right, they are huge. Are they seeing the gambling as a problem? And do they do anything to tackle it? Or it is accepted as a norm or something that is allowable in Christianity? I'm just wondering about that. Because from outside, I think that Christian organization is strong, is still strong in the US, right? Some of it super rich, etc., right? Do all of these institutions, let alone communities, see gambling as a problem? And are they actively trying to change the gambling policy, etc.? Or what is going on? I'm just wondering.
Number 5, women would finally have rights and be protected. In America, they are used as marketing objects to make corporations money and to screw over the women and to screw over the average man. Now, don't get emotional.
Now, on that one, it is interesting to imagine a country that protect women from that perspective, right? Because obviously, okay, when I heard of this, there's two things. One is obviously the corporate that use women as marketing tools. That's one thing. But the society now is in such a problematic state where women voluntarily or by themselves go to OF or whatever that is to make money, right? Yeah, obviously that would not be possible if real Sharia is implemented in any particular country. But I do wonder as well from Christian, my question just like before, right? For a Christian organization in the US, do they think that this manipulation of women, this woman become object of using lust for sex sells, people say, right? For marketing purpose, etc. Do they see this as a problem, or Christian organization nowadays see that as that's their choice, they're free to do that what they want? I'm not talking about individual level, I'm talking about a systemic government, right? Meaning, are they pushing for restriction of something, or it's not a problem in Christianity?
Okay, I'm an American. I love my country, but I would love to see America use Sharia law. Let's take a second to look.
Okay, so the rest is just he cited the facts or the stats from certain places that is, you can say, more or less implementing Sharia, and they become happier, safer, no crime, etc. Right? So, what do you think about what was mentioned in this video? Feel free to comment. Thank you for watching. See you next time.